Two dorm mates in college were in the same science class. The teacher had just reminded them about the midterm the next day when one dorm mate, let's call her Julie, got invited to a party by the hottest guy in school. The other dorm mate, Meg, had pretty much no interest in going, and being a diligent student, took notes on the material that would appear on the midterm. After spending all her time flirting with her date, Julie was totally unprepared for her test. At the end of the day, Julie spent hours getting ready for the party while Meg started studying. Julie tried to get Meg to go, but Meg was insistent that she needed to study and pass the test. Julie went to the party and had the time of her life with her date. She headed back to the dorm around 2 a.m. and decided not to wake up Meg. She went to bed nervous about the midterm and decided she would wake up early to ask Meg for help. In the morning, Meg was lying on her stomach, apparently sound asleep. Julie rolled her over to reveal Meg's terrified face. Julie, concerned, turned the light on. Meg's study stuff was still open and had blood all over it. Meg had been slaughtered. Julie fell into the floor and looked up to see, written on the wall, "In Meg's blood. Aren't you glad you didn't turn the light on?" A girl and her boyfriend were making out in his car. They had parked in the woods so no one would see them. When they were done, the boy got out to pee and the girl waited for him in the safety of the car. After waiting 5 minutes, the girl got out of the car to look for her boyfriend. Suddenly, she saw a man in the shadows. She went back in the car and was starting to drive away when she heard a very faint squeak. 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 This continued for a few seconds before the girl decided she had no choice but to drive off. She hit the gas as hard as possible but couldn't go anywhere because someone had tied a rope from the bumper of the car to a nearby tree. The girl slammed on the gas again. Suddenly, she heard a loud scream. She got out of the car and saw that her boyfriend was hanging from the tree. The squeaking noises were his shoes scraping across the top of the car. A young couple, both 18, decided they would get married after they finished high school. The father of the bride lived in Palm Beach in a mansion and was able to afford a big wedding for them. To make a long story short, they got married and the wedding was beautiful. After the wedding, they had a big reception in an old building and everyone got fairly drunk. When there was only about 20 people left, the groom decided that they should play hide and seek. Everyone agreed and the groom was it. While he covered his eyes, they all found hiding spots. After about 20 minutes, everyone had been found except the bride. The guests looked everywhere and tore the whole place apart looking for her. A few hours later, the groom was furious, thinking the bride was playing a terrible trick on him. Eventually, everyone went home. A few weeks later, the groom, having filed a missing persons report, gave up looking for her. Heartbroken, he tried to go on with his life. 3 years later, a little old woman was cleaning up the old building where the reception had been held. She happened to be in the attic and noticed an old trunk. She dusted it off and out of curiosity opened it. She screamed at the top of her lungs, ran out of the building and called the cops. Apparently, the bride had decided to hide in the trunk for the game of hide and seek. When she sat down, the lid fell, knocking her unconscious and locking her inside. She suffocated after a day or so. When the old woman found her, she was rotting, her mouth hanging open in the shape of a scream. A young girl named Lisa often had to spend time alone at home at night as her parents worked late. They bought her a dog to keep her company and protect her. One night, Lisa was awakened by a dripping sound. She got up and went to the kitchen to make sure the tap was off. As she was getting back into the bed, she stuck her hand under the bed and the dog licked it. The dripping sound continued, so she went to the bathroom and made sure the tap was turned off there too. She went back to her bedroom and stuck her hand under the bed, and the dog licked it again. But the dripping continued, so she went outside and turned off all the faucets out there. She came back to bed, stuck her hand under it, and the dog licked it again. The dripping continued. Drip, drip, drip. This time she listened and located the source of the dripping. It was coming from her closet. She opened the closet door and there found her poor dog hanging upside down with its neck cut. Written on the inside of the closet door was, "Humans can lick too."